The United Nations. Textbook entry. In 1918, the world was recovering from World War I. It was a horrible war that led to the death of approximately 8.5 million people. Many millions more were wounded. People began thinking of ways to prevent future wars. Their goal was to have citizens from all over the world work together to maintain peace. Why did countries have to mistrust one another? Would it be that peculiar for them to talk to settle their differences instead? What began as an abstract idea became reality. In 1920, 41 countries formed the League of Nations. Countries came together and discussed peacemaking. However, not everyone wanted to avoid war. After World War I, Germany began manufacturing weapons and other equipment for fighting. Adolf Hitler came into power. In 1939, Germany invaded Poland and then overthrew the government in Austria. Italy invaded Ethiopia and Albania. Japan fought in China and Manchuria. Germany, Italy, and Japan eventually came together and called themselves the Axis powers. World War II had begun. The League of Nations' attempt to work for peace was a noticeable failure. At this point, living in peace seemed like an unrealistic idea. In 1941, the United States, the Soviet Union, Great Britain, China, and France joined together to become allies. These countries called themselves the Allied Powers and battled Italy, Japan, and Germany. It was a hard-fought war which ended in 1945. The Allied Powers won World War II, but they did so at great cost. No one knows exactly how many lives were lost, but the number is believed to be between 35 million and 60 million people. After that, no one wanted to repeat another world war, so leaders were more open to the idea of an organization that would work toward peace. In 1945, 51 countries joined to found the United Nations, UN. Today, the UN has 192 member nations. Each nation in the UN appoints representatives to the organization. Since it was formed, peacemaking has been the UN's major purpose. However, peace is not its only goal. The countries at the UN join to solve problems around the world. As a courtesy to small and struggling nations, the UN has stepped in during their elections. By doing so, it has enabled many countries to have free and fair voting. The UN works to make international air travel safer. It also works to reduce poverty in poor nations. An added bonus for people around the world is the UN's work to make our environment cleaner and healthier. Instead of waging war, the UN battles against poverty, unfairness, and disease. Through its ongoing efforts, many people hope that nations will continue to make progress in talking rather than fighting to settle their differences. Here's something you may not know. UNICEF. UNICEF is an organization developed by the UN to nurture and care for children around the world. Not all children have happy and carefree childhoods. In many countries, children still get very sick from polio, whooping cough, and other diseases. The organization provides vaccines to prevent these diseases. UNICEF is also attentive to other needs, including fighting hunger and helping all children receive an education. UNICEF stands for United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund.